Hi, everybody. It is this time of the month again, right? Welcome, Zane Griggs, again to my YouTube channel. Hi, Zane. Thank you so much for accepting my invite for I think this is like the third conversation ever,
It
right? But
is.
the
Thank
second,
you, sir.
yeah, the second one that I think is going to really help people the way we've been helping people lately by raising awareness that actually carbs not only are not something to not be afraid of, but it's actually probably the one thing that will turn you into a superhuman, happier, healthier, even greater healing than you could ever dream of on keto or carnivore. So I'm very excited for this one, Zane. Can you share a little bio with our audience, and
Sure.
we'll dive in.
Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate you having me back. So, a quick bio is that I've been in fitness trainer and health coach for 27 years, basically since 1998. Before that, experimenting with diet. So I've been experimenting with diet to basically understand how to reverse or prevent metabolic disease. That was my focus starting in my mid 20s because I saw my relatives struggling with it. And so that's what led me into the health space was just my desire to keep learning and keep helping people with this. And I've been through the gamut from vegetarian, vegan, low carb with intermittent fasting, fasted workouts. I've hit the wall with diets, taken them to the extreme, and landed in a place I didn't expect, which is a higher carb, lower fat diet is really fueling me well. It's giving me some of the best blood work I've ever seen, and it's helping a lot of my clients lose weight. Believe it or not, after they've been stuck with a lot of diet culture, a lot of over dieting, it's helping them get their energy back, improve their thyroid, start losing fat, improve blood sugar in many cases. So it's been quite a turn, and I'm just so glad we kind of hit this around the same time, I think, or start talking about it around the same time. I've been experimenting with that for a little over 2 years now. And it's been nothing, again, nothing but better blood work, better energy, better recovery, better sleep.
Yeah.
And it's no one's more shocked than I am.
Me too. Trust me, I know. I know the
Yeah,
feeling of shock when you reintroduce carbs and your whole everything transforms. Your whole life, your body, your income. Who knew? You know?
right,
That's amazing.
right. No, it's been great, and but it's what's also been amazing is the response I've had. So from which I know you've seen and experienced as well. It's just like
Yeah.
there's some people who are very happy to hear this, and they feel affirmed and heard and
Yes.
validated. And then
Yeah.
there's others who seem quite angry about the
Right.
fact that we're even talking about it, which I think is odd. I
It's
think it's
very
odd that
odd
people
to,
get so
yes.
angry
Not just
about talking
angry,
about
like
money.
bullying. Like
Yeah,
what nobody's thinking about you guys. We're not going to your posts. We're not even
right.
thinking about you. Why do you have to come to our content and start bullying everybody? And especially since you don't even have the right facts. Like that's what blows my mind. Like the nerve to do that. And
Mm,
it's not even very smart, the things that they're saying. They're opening themselves up to legal issues that they really need to be
mm.
very careful about. That's it's just a measure of intelligence. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's not been, I mean, there's some cherry picked data that's dropped in there, but by and large, the evidence, the published research is not supportive overall
Yep.
of a low carb diet or keto diet for performance, for athletic performance, for insulin sensitivity. I
Hmm.
mean, we see more insulin sensitivity through higher higher carb, lower fat. We see more fat loss in the studies where they do low fat versus high fat.
Hmm.
More fat loss with a low fat diet
Yep.
across the board. And
Yep.
so, yes, there's some individual studies that show something different, but by and large, most of the research supports a lower fat, higher carb diet
Yep.
for reversing disease, for athletic performance,
Yep.
uh, and for overall health, like longevity. Uh,
Yeah.
and we see it over and over again in indigenous cultures where we see their indigenous diet is 60 to 85% carb many times,
Right.
from their environment, and they're thriving, and there's no metabolic disease.
Exactly, exactly. And then the cholesterol issue, right? Even the
Oh,
carnivore tribes that are touted as like, look how healthy those carnivore tribes are. Well, their cholesterol is very low. It's pretty low. It's really not that high. And so if you want to follow their example, then you should also follow their labs. If you want to eat their diet, then you
mm,
gotta get their labs because it's that combination that will ensure that you have lower risk of heart disease. And so seeing people with their cholesterol going shooting up and oxidized LDL going up and high sensitivity CRP going up, that is very dangerous. And
yeah,
it is negligent to not share that. It is negligent to just suppress that information or even just pretend it doesn't exist.
yeah, or discount it to say it doesn't matter, which is usually what we're saying. We're saying it doesn't
Exactly.
matter. Same with the
Exactly.
blood sugar issue, where we're seeing the elevated
Right.
blood sugar, fasting
Right.
baseline blood sugar, and along with elevated A1C. It's not something that's discordant. We have a low blood sugar, like you might see in an athlete, where they have low blood sugar, but they have high A1C because they're training 4 or 5 hours a day. And so
Right.
they get a little more elevation, but you see an elevated blood sugar, baseline blood sugar, and an elevated A1C. And I've had to come out and say, oh, that's not a problem if you're on a carnivore diet, because if you're a carnivore, it's the context. So you get a whole new context for your
Right.
blood
Right.
markers
Right. Or
if
the
you're on a
dolphin.
carnivore diet. But because my blood sugar goes to 140 for an hour, or goes above 120, but goes up to 140, comes back down within an hour after a carby meal, that is supposed to be more glycating than having a baseline at 110 or 120 all day long. That's not
Zane,
even logical.
exactly.
That's not logical. So I had several people say they have their own context, they have their own biomarker context that's special for them because they're following a just because they're following the diet, not
Yep.
looking at anything else.
Yep.
They're following the diet regardless of how their other blood work looks, regardless of the shape that they're in,
Yep.
regardless of their other markers of metabolic health. As long as they're following the carnivore diet, oh, you get a pass on your blood sugar. Hmm.
Or this thing that, oh, look at dolphins. They have high fasted, like they have this insulin resistance and it's okay. Well, guess what? If we only did not have actual data on carnivore tribes that are human, our species, that shows that even the carnivore tribes that are touted as an example of ultimate health have low blood glucose, low HbA1c.
Yeah.
And they have, just like what all tribes have, spikes when they eat because you need those insulin spikes when
Right.
you eat because that's an anabolic hormone to be able to absorb everything, to be able to maximize dopamine production and everything else.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I know they keep mentioning Maasai, but Maasai drink 4 to 6 liters of milk a day, which
That's
everyone say, oh no, if you ate dairy, that's going to throw off your carnivore diet. Well, like they 4 to 6 liters. There's 45 grams of carbs per liter,
yeah.
so they can easily get to 250 to 300 grams of carbs a day just from the milk. Let's not leave out the honey, the those tubers, the berries, if it's also part of their diet.
Yeah.
Even the sugar that might be in the blood that's mixed in the milk with the Messiah. I mean, there's there's plenty of room for carbon. They're not living on meat and salt. That's very rare. They don't hunt that much.
Nope.
Um, so it's a really odd comparison or trying to pull those examples out. When most indigenous cultures are really living on a higher carb diet. I think that's the majority of them. Okinawa, which is known for their centenarians, is 10 to 1 carb to protein. Their traditional diet was because of all the
Mm.
sweet potatoes. Um, not saying that's the ideal diet. I'm just saying they were able to eat a lot of carbohydrates without disease. So we can't blame carbohydrates for disease.
Right.
I think that's I
It's
think that's the
shamanic.
real question here: is do carbohydrates cause disease? Do whole food carbohydrates cause disease? But we see numerous examples of it not happening in indigenous cultures that have not taken on an industrial diet. Uh, so why isn't it happening in those cultures?
Yeah.
Because they've had the same diet for thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point of avoiding them if they don't cause disease? Where's the benefit?
Not only that, I think it's dangerous to avoid
Yeah.
carbohydrates, you know,
Hmm.
because if it's gonna mess up your thyroid, slow down your metabolism, increase stress hormones, increase cortisol, glucagon, increase your cholesterol, oxidized LDL, small dense LDL that is oxidized, increase overall inflammation, high sensitivity CRP, increase blood
Right. Risk
glucose and
factor.
HbA1c. What do you think is most likely going to lead to a heart attack or a stroke?
Yeah. Anything that drives stress, really, like you said, the HSCRP, the oxidized LDL,
Yeah.
and the elevated stress hormones like glucagon and cortisol, and it's those are all leading to uh, disease risk.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
You know, one of the main philosophies of Dr. Ray Peat, and not to say that I agree with every single thing he says, but something that I think is powerful that he said is that the thing that's going to allow you to live the longest and the healthiest is how healthy and strong your metabolism is.
right,
That seals the whole debate.
right, energy production, and that comes
Yeah.
down to energy production,
Yeah.
right?
Not that we're
Yeah,
having a debate. They want to have a debate. We couldn't care less. We're living our lives, you know, for and trying to help humanity thrive. But yeah, people sometimes, I don't know. I don't know what their motivations are for the attacks and the incessant bullying. Maybe they like to go to the legal route. That would be fun. I would love that. You know me.
yes.
Oh,
Well,
you could.
I just don't want to waste my energy on. I like open-minded conversations, even if I
Yeah.
don't agree 100%.
Yeah, but
Uh,
wouldn't it be fun?
Civil,
I'll
respectful
work on you
conversation.
a little bit. Don't worry, don't worry. I'll work on you over time after
Okay.
hours. Don't worry.
Uh, but I think ignoring the evidence. Improved, it's like what you go back to what you just said. An improved metabolism is improved energy production. So it's not
Mhm.
just the energy we eat is potential energy, but hasn't been converted into cellular energy that we actually use yet. It hasn't been converted into ATP. And so that's what, like you mentioned, Ray Peat, that's where his focus was how efficiently are we turning potential energy, fat and and glucose essentially into ATP.
Yeah.
And it's not it's it that's where when we see fat being stored, that means energy's been diverted away from being converted to ATP and it's being stored as fat for later. And
Yeah.
there's some level of stress or some response to or some sort of disruption in the mitochondria in the metabolism
Hmm.
that's causing that. So if you see that you're gaining fat instead of losing it or having more energy, that's an indicator there's a problem. What you're doing isn't working. There's something not working.
Yes.
And so
Exactly.
if you're getting fatter or your fat's not reducing,
Yeah.
your diet's not working.
95% of people who hire me that have come from carnivore, gained weight, then discovered my content, and they come to me because they realize that that was the wrong message. That again, that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people struggling with their weight who have been on these diets for several years.
Yeah.
And it becomes normalized.
Yeah.
And it's not about a vanity issue. It's like, is it working?
Yeah.
Is that's an indicator of metabolic health of an efficient metabolism. And sure, there are examples of people who seem to be lean and athletic while on this diet, and that's fine.
And they're usually men, right? Very young men, right?
Generally, they're men under 40.
Yeah.
Generally, yeah.
Super healthy, possibly like,
Active, they work out a lot.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
that's what you'd have to do to offset all that
Yeah.
fat.
But then you have to
Uh,
take the electrolytes. Isn't it so funny with like so many people that are afraid of zucchini, but then they're having the electrolyte mixes, salted caramel with artificial flavors and, and sweeteners? I'm sorry, which one has a higher addictive potential? That electrolyte mix with the salted caramel flavor and artificial sweeteners or the zucchini?
yeah,
What?
right.
What's going on? I don't get it. It's so weird.
Yeah, there's odd justifications going on.
Very.
Um,
It has more to do with like that's the community and that person seems to have so much confidence, and they're male, so I trust their judgment. I swear, it's like this is such, I think, a powerful driver, because I'm getting DMs every day, very famous, very well known carnivores. They're texting me. I was like, I have been eating carbs, and I think you're right. Keep doing what you're doing, but I'm not ready to go publicly with it just yet. This is why everybody needs to run, to get the courage to go publicly and not be afraid of anything, because you're not going to lose anything.
I think I have to say, I think what a lot of the people, I had questions. I just went to Hack Your Health. There's a lot of big keto and carnivore
Yeah.
contingent there.
Yeah.
And I was mostly friendly with everyone. Most of them,
Yeah.
despite what you see online, most of them were very friendly with me and had good conversations, whether we agreed or not.
Oh,
It
that's
was respectful
funny.
and friendly. I got a
Okay.
few side eyes. I got a few that are like, look at me like that and didn't talk.
Yeah.
And then, but then I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of people ask me when I was around other people. I wasn't around other people. I was just alone with them. I got some questions
Yeah.
about this, or like, yeah, I'm certain. I kind of want to lose some weight. I'm kind of putting this. I haven't really lost weight since, and they're struggling
Yeah.
with their weight
I know. Yeah.
on keto or for years,
Yep.
and it's not. They're concerned about their health,
And you're
and
talking about like speakers, or you're talking about people.
not they weren't the speakers. They weren't the
Right.
speakers because there weren't any really heavy um,
Yeah. Right. Like the audience. And
speakers.
also, why would they come and tell you that? Like if they're
Right, but
like,
I've had a few of the people there that were just individuals just mention, oh yeah, and I'm eating some carbs now too, or I'm doing this because I feel better when I eat them, and
yeah.
um, it was it was reassuring. It was nice to see that there's still some people willing to have conversations, and
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be pushy,
Yeah.
um, but just encourage them to keep experimenting, because I think that's how you and I got here, and it's like keep experiment, try it. Like when you do it, lower your fat. You're going to add the carbs, lower your fat. Like
Yeah.
this is what it looks like, but not being dogmatic about it. Certainly not
That's the thing.
bullying.
The bullying is obviously indicative of a deeper emotional issue or something.
Right.
I don't understand bullies. I've never been one. I was bullied in high school, and I think people like us who are very competent, and people can sense there's something in us that they see our potential before we see it. And so I think that's why I was bullied in high school, like but yeah, like I've never once seen you, and I'm like, Zane, like say, like, do something, and you're so above that, and I love it, I just know what your heart is, and you don't need to resort to these tactics because you're competent enough. You don't need to resort to these personal attacks, it's
No, I said enough what I need to say to the right people, to certain people. I made my position clear. I don't need to keep berating it. And when someone makes a new reel that tears apart my reel, and they have the echo chamber coming in, and it's all just a bunch of the guys saying the same thing, to
little
me
kids.
that doesn't
Yes.
fulfill anything. Like I'm just like,
No, no,
this is
no.
ridiculous. You guys are all just affirming your own.
Exactly. If they took the time it took them to drag people and criticize and hate
Yeah.
on others that they don't agree with, if they just took that time and actually opened a book, science book, not your Sunday book, okay, then maybe they'll be exactly where we're at, and maybe even better. So, this is one
It
of the
was just
things that I'm like,
yeah.
all of my content, I know they're gonna benefit from it. Like, some people, it's like, but I know a higher level would be of me would be like, you're welcome, when they finally actually start doing the right work. Whatever.
It's just there's more people who are open to, like you said, hearing more, like addressing the bigger picture and the
Yeah.
bigger population of people who are just looking for answers, who just want to know, how do I lose the weight? How do I correct my blood sugar? How do I have more energy?
Yes.
And addressing those rather than getting into a squabble with an echo chamber of people who honestly, I kind of was thinking about this. There's one particular post. There's like 6 of them in there, all just reaffirming each other, and one of them dropping some cherry picked data here and someone else talking about this. And yeah, he didn't even, I mean, talking about my post, he
Yeah.
didn't even, how does he even, it's like they didn't even understand what I said. Like what I said to them was not logical. It was so outside of their framework. They
Yeah.
didn't even understand,
Yeah.
like they were questioning what I was saying. Is like, how is he even logically saying that?
Right.
And so their echo chamber was so tight, there was no point in
No.
introducing anything new to them because they've so locked in. But
Yeah.
after I was pondering it later, I'm like, this is a mental derangement. Like this is a, I just like I turned my wife like they're mentally deranged. They are so hyper focused and closed on their, and then when something challenges it,
They
that wasn't
can't.
even directed to them, didn't challenge them. I
Yeah.
posted something on my own feed, but
Yeah.
that challenged them somehow to the
Yeah.
point it triggered them
Yes.
to have to create this and then
Yeah.
create all these little
Yeah.
like circle jerk comments
Right.
of just patting each other on the back of how
Right.
smart they are.
Right. And then
And
opening themselves up to a real, like, you know what's going to happen, right? Like, there are real consequences for the things that they're saying. Everything's being documented and will continue to be documented. And so it's just, they can't be that not smart to not realize what they're opening themselves to, right? I think it's just emotionally, they can't regulate their emotions. They're very emotional. And so maybe
it
you should go for a run.
that's where it just seemed like there was something that was triggered that I couldn't
Yeah.
even understand. I couldn't explain it, but I can't imagine having that much like of an emotion about the way
Yeah.
somebody else is eating.
Anger management courses and runs. I think those that this is what is doctor's orders.
But it, but to help,
Oh,
I really I'm motivated by the people who are saying thank you for saying something, which I'm getting every day, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram, getting messages or comments. Thank you for posting this stuff.
I know.
Thank you
Yeah.
for reaffirming this. This is what I found. I wasn't sure why. Thank you for explaining it.
Yes.
Um, and that keeps me going because I know there's people who are like confused because this is they're doing something that they have a better result, but it goes against everything they've been told, and
Right.
they're what they're seeing is counter to what they've been told how things work.
Hmm.
And so they don't have an explanation for it. And so when
Yeah.
it's open to they go, oh, that pattern makes sense to me from what I've seen in behavior.
Hmm.
So when the explanation of the what's going on in their body lines up with what they've seen happen, then things click.
Yeah.
There's a concordance. But right now they have a discordance between what they've been told how things work and what they're seeing happening. And so there's no pattern recognition there
Right.
to make them feel confident.
Cognitive dissonance, right? It feels very uncomfortable when you're confronted with hard data and evidence, and it conflicts with something that you hold really a deep belief.
Right. Right.
It doesn't
But
feel
I
good.
think what a lot of these people, I know I was going, I got lost for a second, but at the conference, people ask me questions, but I think what they want the healing, they want to fix their weight issue or whatever it is they're trying to fix, obviously, but they also like the community and they're concerned about being open about it because they don't want to be rejected from the community where they have invested time and energy and
Right.
relationships.
Right. And
And
that's the
that's
price
a
of success, right? Every single ultra successful person goes on the same journey. As you level up, you have to be willing to let go of the people that can't go up with you at the same rate. They might choose to then be inspired by you and then meet you there, but you cannot just stay stuck where everybody else is.
right,
That's the price of success, right? And then eventually, as you level up, you start finding people that are at your same level or even higher, and it gets even better. So it's not like you're going to be lonely forever.
right. But I think that a lot of the people they like that community. They feel good with the community. They feel good with the people. They make good friends.
Yeah.
And there's a fear of rejection because of the way
Yeah.
of the response. And then look what's happened with just putting out the information we've had. It's just like there's a voracious attack. And
Yes.
the last thing most of them want to have is that happen to them because not everybody's willing to go through that.
Yeah, not everybody has built up their resilience to be
Right.
able to not experience any negative emotion if people
Mhm.
attack them
Rejection.
or a
Yeah.
rejection. That's again, we go back to building a strong body and a strong brain. You can't have strength, mental strength, without a strong body. And the fastest way to do that is to get the Adderall effect, which is the brain chemistry that mimics what a brain is like on Adderall, a healthy brain on Adderall, which means high baseline dopamine, high baseline norepinephrine, and high baseline serotonin. How do you do that? Cardio. You need high intensity cardio and time under tension. This is why resistance training is phenomenal, but it's not enough, because resistance training is only high intensity, but not enough time under tension. So it only raises baseline dopamine and norepinephrine, but you still need the serotonin that is very critical to give you that superhuman brain mental strength. And that's going to give you more confidence, more verbal fluency. It's going to give you more energy, productivity, income. It's a dose response relationship. You're going to get cut. You're going to be shredded. You're going to be fit. You're going to be able to have even more carbs, because your body is going to require that. If you want to fuel a Lamborghini, you got to give it all the nutrients, all the energy. People who make the most amount of money eat the most amount of calories and nutrients. They are well fueled, you know? So it's all about that. It's of doing that personal work, and it's so simple. It's such a simple solution to all of this, so you don't have to worry about it. What are people going to think about me? Am I going to be what's the word when you're like expelled from a group, like
like alienated or excommunicated, so basically
yeah, in
knocked out of a religious group
exile, yeah.
potentially.
What
Which is, I think, not basically told, asked to leave a certain religious group.
right,
And that's kind of what we have here. We have is a bit of a
exactly,
religious
exactly,
way of
exactly.
approaching
Exactly, but that's a
diet.
sign of success, right? As you start to have this reaction from the people around you and you're leveling up, that's the best evidence for you that you're on the right track and you're going in a higher, happier, more peaceful existence. If you are ready to build a monster brain and body that would allow you to create massive abundance for yourself and your family, lose weight, get healthier above and beyond what shunning carbs can achieve. If you are ready to stop restriction and instead build something so resilient that nothing can touch it, then feel free to check out my coaching packages at drsarahzoldivar.com/coaching. Specifically, I just launched a new coaching package called the Fit Optimized Energy Coaching Package. If you use code Black Friday, you're going to get 50% off this package. It normally goes for $600, so you would get it for just $300, and it lasts 12 weeks. So it's 12 Zoom calls of 30 minutes each with unlimited email support and adjustments to your meal plan, exercise plan. We go over your labs if you have any. We go over your supplements, and I will give you all the recommendations for what might be optimal according to your budget. You can check it out at drsarahzoldivar.com/coaching. And also, if you want to stay up to date with all my research in order to create massive abundance and become a peak performer and a superhuman, then make sure you're signed up for my free newsletter at drsarahzoldivar.com/newsletter. Now back to the podcast.
Yeah. And I do think we want community, like we have a desire for community.
Yeah.
I think humans thrive in community. It's just like who's in the community is really the
Exactly. Which
question.
community do you want to? Like, you're not going to be friends with the most successful people on the planet if you're not at their level. You have to do the work to be able to reach and become part of that community, right? Why would you want to be stuck in that community? Level up. And at every level, there's a new community that's better and happier and non-toxic. So,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, I do. Believe me, I do. And it could be a lonely transition at first, but I think I'm empathetic for the people who are like worried about leaving because they've invested time and energy in these. But at the same time, there's an aspect of that community maybe holding them back. And that's where they're going to have to make a decision. What I would love to see is that community becomes a little more open-minded. At least some aspect of it. I know it's a stretch.
I don't know
Some
if I
aspect
see
of it
that
becomes a
happening
little more
anytime soon.
open-minded
Yeah.
and a little more open to fluctuation, to divergence, to
Yeah.
different ways of thinking.
Yeah.
I think of diets. I kind of look at it like because I'm working with people, I'm using them to help people or fix an engine, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
They're tools. And so
Yeah.
I'm looking at a toolbox and I'm like, okay, which tool is going to be the best one to use
Yeah.
for this issue right now? And so I'm not emotionally attached to one of them, but it's like, well, if one of them seems to be working really well for me, then I'm going to work with that
Yeah.
until I find a better way
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
way to use it,
Yeah.
or until it stops working for me. And then I'm like, oh, now I really need to look for a new tool
Yes.
or find a tool with an upgrade. And so it's really should be an unemotional, pragmatic, practical approach
Yes.
to how what you use, whether it's exercise, diet, recovery methods. These are just tools that we don't need to be emotionally attached to.
Yeah.
And we need to use them while they work. And if they stop working as effectively, or if there's a better tool to use, then we shift. We use the new tool, or we use the tool we have the most confidence with. Someone at the conference asked me, so what I think of, I'm sitting at a table full of keto people. And this guy who I didn't never met, he's kind of new there. He's not involved in the diet stuff at all. He said, what do you think of the keto diet? And I'm
Hmm.
like, oh boy, I'm at a table full of keto people. And that's how I answered it. I said, I look at it like when I think about diets, I look at a toolbox with a tool. And right now, I'm not super confident about that, using that as a tool, because
Yeah.
I've had some issues with it. I've used it before. I've
Yeah.
used low carb before. I've used extreme fasting before. I'm not super confident in those tools that I can do a good job with those tools. So I'm using tools that I feel like I can do a better job with, that give me the results I'm looking for more consistently
Yeah.
over time. And the keto right now, the keto diet's not one of them. And so that's not to criticize people who are following it. That's just when it comes to using a tool to get a certain desired effect, it's not what I'm reaching for.
Exactly.
It's that it's that simple.
I look at, like, for example, carnivore. I look at it as, let's say you have an ankle injury. I wouldn't tell you to start running, right? We wait until the ankle heals and then we start running. So, same thing with carnivore. Like, if you have a gut injury, then yes, do carnivore. I actually have clients on carnivore. I know how to use it as a tool, but I also know that it's a ticking time bomb. And I know that I'm already placing in place the long-term really optimal plan so that we can get them to the healing and then to optimizing and thriving.
Right. So that's a tool you're comfortable with using in certain circumstances for a certain
Exactly.
period of time.
Yes.
And someone else who's helping people may not have that same skill or experience that you do.
Yes.
And so they're going to use something else, or they're not going to be comfortable with using a carnivore because it's not predictable for them. For you,
Right.
it's more predictable and you know how to use it. For them, it's not predictable. That's
Mm.
not a personal issue. That's not an attack on you. That's just what their experience and the perspective has
Yes.
given them
Yes.
in what they're comfortable using.
Yes.
It's that simple. It's
I
not a
agree.
person. You know how to use it a certain way,
Yes.
with a certain circumstance. Someone else may not. That's just
It's not even my favorite tool. Like, even if you
right.
have insulin resistance, I prefer to get you to build muscle so I can reverse your insulin resistance while building muscle and having carbs, as opposed to giving you this restrictive diet that's gonna sap the life energy out of you. And then now your competitor in your office is getting the promotion and you're not gonna get that girl because you don't even have energy to do anything about it. It's like, no. So I'd
Right.
rather build resilience as opposed to restrict,
Right.
because both are going to achieve the same thing. They're both going to reverse insulin resistance, but wouldn't it be wouldn't it be insanely better, stronger, more powerful, and better long-term prognosis to build strength and reverse insulin resistance and put those habits in place so that then they keep getting better and better and better, as opposed to restrict and giving them an eating disorder, and now they're binging
Right.
or they have no energy to do anything and they're just falling behind in life.
Yeah. Sleep's disturbed. There's
That
other
too.
things popping up. And
Oh,
so,
everything.
yeah, why not have both? Why not have
Yes.
high energy and
Yes.
have your carbs and lose the weight?
Yes.
And if we don't have to restrict them, why would we? Why
Exactly.
incur more risk?
Exactly. Only if somebody is like literally bedbound and cannot lift weights. And it's like, okay, well then, keto carnivore is easier to do to reverse insulin resistance. But still, as you're losing weight and getting better, I need you to start moving and becoming tougher. I don't care what you have. I don't care what horrific thing you have. There are people who are quadriplegic, not quadriplegic. There are people missing their legs that are at the gym lifting. There is no freaking excuse. It's a worldview. It's
Right.
it's a mindset. It's what it is.
That's true. That's
You know?
true. No, there's plenty more people can do to help their health rather than a one size fits all kind of diet. And and I'm certainly not trying to give someone a one size fits all diet, but I think people are looking for alternatives and they're looking for answers, and they've run out of runway with what they're
Yeah,
doing now. It stopped working for them, and they're looking for something other than just diet harder, or you must be doing something wrong.
right.
How about
Or
we have a diet that's more flexible, that you
yeah,
don't have to be so perfect on,
yes.
that doesn't require you to be 100%,
I wouldn't
so
I wouldn't even consider what we're recommending something that's not perfect. It is perfect. It is the optimal, right? Having carbs is the optimal
it's
diet.
optimal, but
And
it
you
doesn't
can,
have, like, you could go out on a weekend or go on vacation
right.
and and have a little more and eat a little differently, eat a little more fat, whatever it is. And when you come back, you come right back into it, and you really haven't lost ground because
No.
it's not so fragile. Your metabolism is stronger, it's more resilient and more flexible.
When I came back
The
from
metabolism is more
Europe,
flexible.
I dropped 3 pounds, and I was tracking everything. I wanted to ensure that I'm not in a calorie deficit. And I still, just because I ate more over there, my metabolism, because I train, my metabolism is like, oh yeah, you should actually give me more calories because I'm just waiting to give you the adaptations that you really want with your body and your brain. And I dropped 3 pounds, like, holy, you know?
Yeah,
And I'm eating
that's what we found.
sandwiches. Yeah.
We'd go out of town, eat a little bit more, kind of came off a little bit more flexibility, a little more like room to wiggle and rest a little bit, but came
Right.
back and it's like it's like things water weight dropped off or something dropped off. It's like we lost. How did that happen? And it was I think we just the diet allows for more flexibility. It
It
allows
boosts
for more.
thyroid function. It boosts
Yeah,
your energy.
yeah,
It gives you what you need to have. You deserve to operate on an insanely high level. You
right.
deserve to have a super breed metabolism. You deserve to have optimal thyroid and optimal brain function, And so when you're actually going for a dopamine hit, this is an indication that you're getting the dopamine from the wrong sources. You should build it, build it and fuel it. Get do the workouts to build it up and fuel it. You gotta have, it's again like a Lamborghini. You give it a lot of fuel and optimal fuel.
Right.
That's the goal.
That's for sure. That is the
Yeah.
goal. Yeah, it brain, like you pointed out last time with our last conversation with the dopamine, everything from dopamine, brain function to mitochondrial function, and if you do it right with your gut as well, your gut function is going to be improved. Um, it's I'm kind of kicking myself that it took me this long to figure it
Well,
out. To
me
be
too.
honest with you.
Everybody. That's another thing I think we should warn everybody because once you actually do it, you're gonna get really mad first. Sorry. I was
Mhm.
very angry, It's like, oh my God, 10 years wasted of my life when I could have made this kind of income. I could have looked this good. I could have felt this amazing. I mean, your relationships get better, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, there were years I was quite grumpy. My wife let me know.
Right? I know. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fine. Better late than never.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's better late. I'm pretty late too, but it's better late than never. But I just, yeah, I hope people feel like they have permission to experiment, have permission to try something and see if it works for you. You really should. You shouldn't be afraid of trying something, giving it a chance, try something new to see if it helps you, especially if what you're doing right now isn't working. What do you have to lose?
Right.
You
And,
know?
and and the harder your life is, the more you need energy to overcome the adversity, right? The greater your ambition is, the more you need the carbs to be able to
Oh, yeah.
be stronger and be able to handle that higher level of ambition. Because at every higher level of success that you
Hmm.
get, it comes along with stress. This is what stops people from advancing in life. They get a promotion, but then the stress is overwhelming. They're not equipped
Right.
to that, right? Their baseline dopamine, the Adderall effect on the scale, they're still here. But this new promotion requires a higher level because it comes with this level of stress. Remember, dopamine is the anti stress molecule. The higher your dopamine, norepinephrine, and specifically serotonin, the less you feel the stress or the cortisol. It's like your Teflon. Anything could happen. People can come at you. You could get into an accident, whatever, it doesn't phase you because your pain tolerance goes up hand in hand. Again, it's a dose response relationship. It goes up as you get closer to the Adderall effect, as you become fitter and fitter and fitter, specifically cardio. because you need that serotonin aspect. It's that trifecta: dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. You need all three to become unstoppable so that you can actually get yourself out of minimum wage living, so you can actually live in abundance and help your family, so you can actually help humanity. There are a lot of problems that need solving.
Yeah. Make an impact. Yeah,
A real
absolutely.
impact.
Yeah, I've definitely found a more capacity for stress and for innovation, for problem solving, um, since dramatically increasing the carb intake about a little over 2 years ago,
Love it.
uh, and getting rid of the fasting 3 years ago. I mean, that was huge. I was just overdoing it. I'm not saying that can't be ever part of your protocol, but I'm saying it's not. It was part of my weekly protocol
Right.
almost most days of the week, and it was tanking so many things. It ran me into the ground, and so where there's been a lot of argument over like which stress hormone is elevated when and how for how long and where the micronutrient or the substrate that's coming in to create gluconeogenesis over, and you can look at different studies that will say different things. You could someone saying, "Oh, this study, Joe, you don't understand bio because you don't understand how this." Really, that's irrelevant to your average person who's just trying to feel better and have more energy and lose
Agreed.
weight.
Agreed.
Which substrate?
Regardless, your biochemistry understanding is way above than anybody else who claims to have a better understanding than you. You know, because trust me, I've taken tons and tons of courses in my PhD of biochemistry and my undergrad and my master's. I mean, it's wild to me, the nerve. Like it's like they can't even. It's like their competence is in there, but they want
Well,
to. What the hell?
and it's splitting hairs. It's like we're going down this rabbit hole of how much substrate, which can vary depending on the person, the level of stress, the level
Yeah,
of how long you've been in a keto or a long carnivore, whatever.
yeah.
Those substrates, there's variables, and what they're quoting a picture, a snapshot that someone took of a particular instant in the study, and making that the law. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not how our bodies are dynamic. All of these things are dynamic. They're
You know,
fluctuating. And
it
at the end of the day, like you pointed out, it doesn't matter. The end result is what matters.
exactly.
Like you can sit here and
I'm
say you were
seeing
wrong
the
about this. It's like, well, I was wrong about.
it
So
doesn't
it's
matter because when I see the labs every freaking day and I see the high sensitivity CRP going up and the fasting
yeah,
blood glucose going up and the HbA1c going up and the oxidized LDL going up and they're losing their hair and they're losing their eyebrows and they're losing their eyelashes because their thyroid is shot. That's it. That's a prolonged state of stress. And it's now backfiring. And you know what's a shame is that they're giving carnivore such a bad name because carnivore can be such a powerful tool. And now people just don't want to be associated with it anymore because of the lunacy, right? It's like just it's really not that hard to figure out. It's a great tool, and let's just educate people on when and how to use it. Not because not everybody can afford coaching, right? Let's just educate people
right.
on when and how to use it and for how long and what are the symptoms to look for when you know it's time to stop it, you know, and reintroduce carbs and what carbs to introduce and at what rate and all that stuff.
I
It just
I um I
they
wonder
don't
about
have time, you know, they're too busy with the drama. They don't have time to open a
yeah.
book.
I just wonder about people who demonize something like fruit and then make other people afraid of fruit. Like what is it? There's a you have a disordered relationship with food, and it's like health and your diet and all these have to be punitive somehow in order for you to find value in them. And that's what I don't understand. It's like this desire for punitive tactics, punitive habits that are restrictive and that make you they feel better about themselves because they're doing something that most people don't have a desire to
Right.
do. So they makes them feel a little more
Mm,
bravado or something.
that's a good
But
point.
restrictive and punitive is not health. That's not flourishing. It's not necessary for you to punish yourself in order to be healthier. That is not that is that that's a really odd way of thinking about how nourishing your body through punitive and restrictive habits.
Right.
I think there's a disordered relationship there with
Yeah.
food and with and even themselves
Right, right.
when they have a desire to make not only their own life, but their own habits, but other people fearful of what of things we've used as food for on history, thousands of years
Right.
without a problem.
Right. It's like they look at
There's
the like the toxin, the toxin. Well, did you know that the sun actually is also damaging our skin? Every second you spend out in the sun, this is what accelerates skin damage, skin aging. 90% of skin aging is directly related just to sun exposure, and the rest comes from your vitamin D levels, your omega-3 status, all that kind of stuff. 90% of it is from UV damage. This is why they're trying to figure out how we can do gene therapies to become, there are certain animals that have the gene that makes them resistant to the radiation from the sun, because as we move beyond the Earth and become an interplanetary species and we want to colonize Mars and all of those planets, we're going to need to be able to thrive in those environments without the sun, the radiation that's at a much higher level up in space, so that it would not age us faster. So it's like, yeah, okay, so not everything is black and white. You know, the sun is damaging our skin, but it's also giving us vitamin D.
Mhm.
There are trade-offs. Just like we started eating grains, right? And we started eating the beans in the agricultural revolution. We That was a trade-off. Yes, we paid a price. We became shorter and our skulls shrank, and we started seeing misalignment of the teeth for the first time in history because of the exposure of a brand new food group. But it was such an essential and critical and such an important food for the evolution of our species and to establish civilization that we chose. Evolution chose that that was the right trade-off, and that's why for the last 12,000 years we've been eating this high carb and a lot of carbs in our diet. It allowed, maybe because of the dopamine, being able to create way more dopamine and convert way more precursors, like the tyrosine to dopamine and the tryptophan to serotonin. Maybe that gave us such an insane brain advantage that it was such a great trade-off for us to make.
Well, and you're young and old aren't starving through the winter or starving through a
Yes,
season of famine or drought.
that too.
We had more people that could survive,
Yes,
and then we could create communities, and we don't have to roam and search for our food all the time. We could actually build communities and protect ourselves and have a stable food source.
yes,
And those things led to that's called progress. That's
yes.
called advancement. I mean, it's like we have shoes, cars, airplanes, and air conditioned homes. We didn't have those 2 million years ago either.
They don't
But
like
our lives
progress too
are
much.
more
If you
progressive.
watch everything else in their lifestyle, they prefer to go back to the everything the
Right.
way it was, you know?
Right.
The women
Yeah.
stay at home, make me a sandwich.
Well, it's just silly. It's like, progress, productivity, safety, all of these things are brought in through, yes, there's things we watch out for. We are that we are consequences of our modern environment, our modern way of living. But food production allows for safety, higher productivity, and a higher quality of life. That's like just like the shoes, just like the air conditioned home, just like the car. You're safer, you're more productive,
Yes,
you're more comfortable, you
yes,
feel better. Like when we have the foods and we're more comfortable.
right,
All of those things add up
right,
to a higher
right.
quality of
And also
life, more
the thyroid
enjoyable.
function, right? It maybe also not only the dopamine and everything you talked about, it improved all that, but it also improved thyroid and metabolism. And so,
Yes. Yeah, it's a better quality of life. And so it's like, okay, if you want to go back to 2 million years ago, go back to 2 million years ago, but take it all back and see how much you like it.
right.
I mean, it's kind of an odd argument. Like how old were your 2 million-year-old ancestors when they died? 19,
Right,
22,
right,
because they got a cut and an
right.
infection and died, or they died during childbirth.
And they couldn't establish civilization. So why would
You
you
couldn't
want to
establish
go to
protective.
the diet that is associated with the lack of civilization? Why wouldn't you want to choose a diet that's associated post-civilization, the diet that allowed us to evolve so quickly and establish civilization? It's called the revolution, the agricultural revolution, for a reason. It was a major advancement, evolution for our species.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's not logical arguments. I don't understand, and they're not a logical way of presenting them. It's a very angry way of presenting them.
That's the
And
thing, the anger management and the going out of their way to bully people that don't care about them. We're not going over there. They're the ones who are starting everything, and it's like they're stalking.
I
Dude,
feel stalked. I do feel stalked because I have
right?
some oddball come into my
Well,
post and tag half a dozen people who he thinks are going to come in and start a fight. It's like, or they're in my store, people I know who don't like me and who like to antagonize me and like to make fun of me, and they're in my
exactly.
stories. That's an odd obsession.
That's
If
what I
there's
don't
people,
understand. They're in my stories. They follow me, but then it's like, bitch, why are you following me? What the hell? Like, just have a life.
so I think there's an odd thing that seems to be it's beyond just a dietary choice at this point. There are some behavioral patterns, not with all, but with a certain group of them that is not healthy either.
No, there are
It's not a
some.
healthy state of mind. It's not a
No.
healthy emotional state. It's not a healthy relationship with food. It's not a healthy relationship with people who disagree with you
Yeah.
or who challenge your beliefs.
Yeah.
If we can't have those things healthy, you're
Yes.
not fit to live in society with other people. That explains why you group into little
Yeah.
cults, little groups, and isolate yourself in echo chambers. I
Yeah.
mean, because you can't handle being challenged. Now, I don't need to waste my time in a debate with somebody who doesn't have an open mind,
Yeah.
but the only reason I'm here is because I challenged my own beliefs because I've been through all of them.
Mhm. And that's
It's
why you
not
look
about,
insane. And you who like you can post the shirtless pictures and the videos like today, because you're always ready and you're always shredded and you always look insane, right? And so you've done that work, and you get rewarded for it. And this is why you are able to help people and you're getting all of these fantastic testimonials. And
well, I
I'm
appreciate
just
that.
so proud of you.
Well, thank you. But I appreciate that. I do. I'm, I, I, it's the state of mind that bothers me more than anything else.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the people are in this and then other people feel stuck. And I
Right.
feel like, look, I know everyone's not going to have the same result that I have. Like, not everybody's going to be at a very super low body fat percentage with lots of muscles in it. It's like, that's not everyone's outcome or even
I mean,
desire.
they could. If they make the decision, anybody
If
can,
they could, but just metabolic health, just not being overweight, not being metabolically unhealthy
right?
is not hard to accomplish with the right plan and the right mindset. It's just they're being misled, and there's a lot of fear being used
Yes.
to accomplish that, to keep them in
Right.
trapped,
It's so
and
sad.
that bothers me.
Yeah. It's definitely, yeah, fear is a major driving force, I feel
Mhm.
like, for a lot
It
of
is.
people, which is why, I talk so much about strengthening the brain and by
Yes.
strengthening the body, because nothing eliminates even marginal experiences of fear or anxiety. Nothing eliminates that completely except building a strong, resilient body and brain.
Yeah, it's connected, right? It's connected. Your gut, your mitochondria, the myokines that come from the muscles, they all impact the brain,
Exactly.
right? Right. And I mean,
Exactly.
working out releases myokines that affect the hippocampus. I mean, we have the gut brain axis through, um, through a nervous system that impacts every other organ in between, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so it, it it's all connected. We can't isolate these things.
Mm-mm. No, no.
If you have
You
a
you
healthier
you
body, you're
could
gonna have a healthier brain.
like what?
If you have a healthier body, you're gonna have a healthier brain.
Exactly. Like if
Yeah.
you have the ability to move your body, that is the fastest, quickest, easiest way to build an insane, like literally monster levels of happiness and productivity
Mhm.
and calmness and income and an insane physique. I mean, everything, right? Now, if you can't work out, which there's such a small
Right.
percentage of people that but almost every time I have a client that they give me some reason why they can't, either their age or some condition that they have. Almost every single time I show them strong proof how other people with worse off things or even the similar thing were able to achieve insane feats with their body. So a lot of times it's just, that's the thing, that nothing, you can't be given that, the willingness to build that resilience, the fitness. This is why
Right.
it's such a status marker, because
Yes.
nobody can be born like that. You actually have to work for it. And this is where you really know who's serious about success and improving their lives and the lives of everybody around them, and who's just kind of wanting an excuse. It's like it's like a half-assed attempt at improving their life so they can say that they haven't settled or given up.
Right. I agree. I agree that it's earned. It's hard earned, and you gotta. It's that. But once you start, that'll be a real healthy addiction. I think it's a healthy addiction where you desire that feeling that it gives you, and you go back out and get it, because even though you may not feel like it the minute you start, but 5 minutes in, you're like, oh, this
Yeah,
is why I do this, and then you keep going.
exactly, exactly. Trust me, I'm like, oh man, I have to
Yeah.
set a PR. They like, it doesn't feel enjoyable, but when you see how your life is tracking along with that, how
Mhm.
could you possibly live with yourself and not do it every day? I couldn't. It's like, well, if
Right.
I can accomplish this with this level of fitness, well then what's going to happen in a month, in a year, in a decade?
Right.
Am I going to be like a trillionaire? I think yes.
Let me know.
Oh, I
Oh,
will. You know what's
yeah.
up.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
Yep,
awesome.
yep.
No, it is.
Hey,
It,
you can
it
be
all
right
comes
there
together.
with me, It's like you get to decide.
Yeah, it's true. You're self-empowered at that point. You're self-empowered for every aspect of it, from your health to your productivity to your relationships. You're self-empowered. Um, so man, well, I think we covered a lot.
I think so. I love it. I love it. I mean, let's keep something for another one, That's,
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
Why don't we
Well, we'll
ask
have plenty more coming at us, I'm sure, but plenty more to talk about.
right, exactly. Oh my gosh. Maybe a piece of advice, open a book. Just instead of wasting all your time, why don't you just open a book or go for a run? Ideally, do both. Okay?
Yeah, listen to a book while you're on the run. There you go.
Right, exactly. You'll be much happier, you'll be much calmer, and you'll be making way more money, and you'll see that I'm always right.
All right then.
All right,
All right.
and for our audience, please let us know what are the things that you're struggling with? What would you like us to talk about in the future? What are the things that were interesting to you? That way, we can make sure we're catering to you, the people who really matter, as opposed to the naysayers and the people who do not wish us well because they have issues that they refuse to work on.
Amen.
Amen. Zane, this was epic. Zane, tell everybody where they can find you. How can they work with you and all the good stuff?
Okay. Well, my website has the links to my socials, zanegriggs.com. But most active on at Zane Griggs Fitness on Instagram and at Zane Griggs on YouTube. So love to see you there. Hopefully with a kind word. But if you have, just bring your questions. I'm happy to answer them. But thank you again, Sarah, for the conversation. I think I'm enjoying this.
Right? It's fun, isn't it? I love it. It's just when you're talking to somebody that's vibrating at the same level, that's done the work on themselves, that ensures that they know what they're talking about, and like it feels different, right? And it's not ego driven, it's real.
That's
So
that's that's true. Very,
yeah,
very real. It's much more real. That's for
isn't
sure.
it? Yeah. Yeah, I had a great time. I had a blast. I can't wait for our next interview. And I'm going to make sure I post all of your socials in the description box below.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for sticking with us till the end. If you enjoy this kind of content, please let us know by giving this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribing, and hitting that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. And also, if you know somebody who's struggling or who's too scared to change, hopefully this video, if you share it with them, it can truly, you might actually transform their life. So just saying. Thank you,
Share
Zane.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. And I will see you in the next one.